So this is where we were trying to sort out this double brokering when our MC got jacked, our brokerage MC got jacked. So this carrier got their MC stolen. The bad guys, I call him Freddie Fraud, booked a bunch of loads from legitimate brokers like this guy and other carriers and other brokers. Then they stole, the bad guys, Freddie Fraud stole our MC. And then they went and put all of the loads that they had taken here on DAT under our MC.
Crazy.
Remember when I was talking about that phishing email? Y'all,
Right.
You need to protect those DAT logins, okay? So that's how they got both of these MCs, by using a phishing email.
So they had a phishing email,
Right.
and then someone accidentally clicked on it.
Right, so someone clicks on it, and what it does is it takes them to a fake DAT site. And you put in your login information, and they've got it.
And that's what happened.
That's what happened. They had ours for 20 hours.
What's a phishing email look like?
So I will show you, and I can send you some screenshots of what these look like. Here's the main thing. Whenever you're talking about a phishing email, the link that they sent looked like a legitimate link to DAT because it was. That's what they wrote. But the actual link that it goes to, the URL it will take you to, is not a DAT website.
And that's where you have to pay attention to.
That's where you have to pay attention. And then, so this guy booked loads under us and then rebooked them to other people. Like, we're still trying to sort out where everything is. So when I tell you that double brokering runs deep, it's insane. Like, somewhere in here, this was delivered to a warehouse. These were supposed to go to Florida and Texas. Instead, they were at a warehouse in California, in Ontario. It's nuts. So, guys, be aware, be aware, be aware, be advised.
Yeah. What's going on, Mutha Truckers? Welcome to Mutha Trucker News. Email us at muthatruckernews@gmail.com. We have a very special guest here because, you know, as a truck driver, as a carrier, as a small fleet owner, one thing that's digging into our pockets besides everything else is definitely this double brokering. You're getting to the shipper, and then you deliver the load. You're telling the broker you're ready to get paid, and yeah, you're not getting paid. Something happened. So we have a professional here. Introduce yourself. I'm gonna let you talk.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it. My name is Claudia Catlett, and I work for both General Transportation and that's a brokerage side, and I work for ART Transport, that is our asset side. So I see double brokering from both sides of the coin, if you will. And what I see on the brokerage side is the carriers that are most likely to get taken advantage of are carriers that are lone wolf operators that don't have the staff to vet their loads before taking them, right?
Yeah.
So you're much more susceptible to having these fraudsters get you to take a load and then not pay you. So what are some things that you can look out for and be like, maybe I need to look into that a little bit?
That's why you're here. I'm ready. I'm listening.
So the first thing is, and this one is a tough one. Look, if those rates are insane, if you're looking at a load and they're offering you well over what that lane would mostly pay, you need to pay much more attention to that. And I'm not trying to be negative about anything, but that's one of the scams. So one of the scams is I will book a load from a broker under an MC, then a carrier MC, and then I'm going to take that and turn around and book it somewhere else. Now, the quote-unquote good double brokers will just add a little padding on the top, and then they post it out. You take the load, deliver it, everything delivers fine. Then they pay you the amount, and they take a cut off the top. Those are the quote-unquote good ones.
Those are the quote-unquote.
Yeah.
So truck drivers still hate those guys.
Right. They still hate them, one, because they're getting a cut off the top that you could have gotten paid from the beginning, right? The other is that, they're essentially playing broker without having a broker's license or a brokerage bond because they don't want to pay for the bond. So that's the first thing that they do. What that causes a problem for is whenever insurance comes up. If anything does happen with that load, well, a broker can't claim the carrier that they assigned it to because that carrier never had it.
Right.
They can't claim the carrier. They can try to claim the carrier that actually carried the load. What was their insurance? What did it look like? Did it cover whatever that was? So there's a lot of gray area in that. So that's the beast when it comes to the quote unquote good
So,
brokers.
so double brokering probably happens so much because
So much.
people are just taking a load and they're putting a lower price on it. They're taking the rest of the, the whipped cream off the top. And so that's probably happening to thousands of drivers.
Every day.
And the driver's still getting paid.
Every
So
day.
they don't know that someone's
Right.
skimming the top.
Right.
So that's the number one bad broker,
That's
right?
first.
Okay,
That's first. So, and then here, but the thing that you need to do, the thing that every carrier needs to do when you are taking that load, there is a place on almost every BOL that says MC, who's the carrier?
That's right.
What's the driver? What's the carrier's MC? Sign it. Sign it with the MC that you are riding under. Do that, because that document is what allows you, even if you do get double brokered, that's what allows you as the carrier to go to the actual broker or the shipper and say, hey, I hauled this load and here's my proof that I hauled this load. Because on the brokerage side, if I get a BOL that shows a different name from the shipper that or the carrier that I assigned, then I'm going to look into that. I'm going to find who that carrier is, and I'm going to find out if they hauled my load. I want to pay them. I want to pay the guy who actually delivered my load. I don't want to pay somebody who's a ghost somewhere who scammed somebody, right? That's not what I'm interested in.
Where someone is about to scam a driver, but you saved them
Absolutely.
and you paid the right driver?
We certainly have.
Yeah,
We do it
I like
regularly. Absolutely. And we're going to do the best we can to do that, right? So your good brokers are going to do that. And the thing is, as a delivering carrier, you have a right to get paid for carrying that load.
100%.
So there are things that so let me go back to prevention though, because here's the thing. We can talk about what you need to do on the back end all day long, but we need to talk about how you can prevent it from the first thing. So the first thing is be careful of those rates. If you know somebody is offering $1,000 or $2,000 more than what that load should pay, be advised.
Right.
Do you understand? Check it out. Let's look more into that carrier. So I know that on the carrier side, you guys don't have access to something like Carrier 411, but you do have access to options to be able to look for the MC that you're booking that load under. So if somebody calls you and they're like, hey, can you haul this load for me? What MC is that person calling you from? Is that a brokerage MC or is it a carrier?
And what's the biggest difference that people should know about those numbers? Is there a difference?
There is a huge difference in that. So a broker has a legitimate lawful legal right to put you on that load. A carrier does not. A carrier cannot put another carrier on that load if they've agreed to take it for somebody else.
That's right.
Unless you have something in writing from the original person who booked that load, then you don't need to be taking that from another carrier. And I get it, y'all. I understand. Hey, I overcommitted myself, or I had detention here and I couldn't get to that load. And I understand. I don't want to drop off from my broker. I don't want to drop off from my customer. But the thing is, I firmly feel on my side, I would much rather somebody drop off a load than give that load to somebody that I don't know.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
makes sense.
I would rather that product sit there and be able to haul it tomorrow with somebody that I know, with you, with the person I booked it for, or whatever.
Right.
Because then you have, and here's the thing, if you do have somebody, let's say I'm a lone wolf, or I've got 2 or 3 trucks, I committed to something broke down, I couldn't get it, but my buddy over here, who's a driver, their MC, they're legit, I know they're okay, and they can cover that load, just put them in touch. Just do that. As a broker side, if I have somebody who falls off a load and they're like, man, I can't haul this load, but my buddy over here, his MC, he can absolutely do that for you. I don't want to leave you hanging. I would much rather have that than have you do it the wrong way. Let me get in touch with them. I have respect for you for doing that, and then let me work with you in the future, because I know that you're being honest and forward, transparent with me to be able to get that done. So on that side, that's one thing. If you, if as a carrier or a lone wolf, if you operate with a factoring company, you can talk to your factoring company about doing credit checks on your customers, or on the brokers or on the people that are giving you those loads. So you can ask them to do that, talk with them about it. It depends on the factoring company, how they do that. I don't know if there's a charge. I know our factoring company on our carrier side runs credit checks on everybody, every customer that we do business with, before they will agree to basically buy our loads, from that customer. So you want to make sure that the people that you're doing business with are going to pay their bills.
Yeah, no,
right?
that's great advice. That's good
So
advice.
if you have that opportunity, that's the way. And to be truthful, I should have looked into this ahead of time. I don't know what it costs if you independently don't factor but want to run credit checks on people. I don't really know how that
Right,
works.
that's fine.
But that's something that maybe you could look into as well as a carrier to look for. The other thing you want to look at is you can pull up Safer. That's not, Safer isn't something that only, only brokers have access to. Everyone has access to FMCSA website. Everyone has access to Safer. Check that out.
Yeah.
Run that MC. And here's the thing. Check the contact information. Y'all, I'm telling you right now, check that contact information, because if you got booked a load from our company, General Transportation, that email is going to be at gentransportation.com.
Right.
If someone sends you a load from General Transportation and it says general, dispatch at
AOL,
gmail.com,
Gmail, something
bro,
like that.
that ain't us.
That's right.
That is not us. And I'm not saying
That's
that
good
people
sign.
don't do business with Gmail or whatever. There are some small operators who do. But you look for that email that's on Safer or on the FMCSA
Make sure it matches
website.
up.
Make sure those match. That is a huge, huge deal. Also, be advised whenever you have someone pick up, they don't give you load details. Now, as a broker, you're going to have, you're going to sometimes have someone who only gives you a rate con that just has city and state.
That's right.
Versus all of the details, because trying to prevent this kind of fraud, right?
Right.
But they're like, I've seen it, the last time that I saw some double brokering problems, it said, they were like, just ask for the load that goes to Albany. What load is it?
Right.
What's the information on that
Right.
load? Because just asking for Albany does not make me feel good
That's
at
right.
all. I want to know details. Where am I supposed to go? So you want to make sure that, and be careful when there are loads that will take you to the last ones that got hijacked that I was paying attention to, the BOLs I was privy to. There was loads going from New Jersey to a random 3PL. It wasn't even a 3PL. It was it was a warehouse in Texas. The load should have gone to Florida, but they routed it to a warehouse in Texas. If you don't have like legitimate, clear paperwork for where that's going, again, there is something shady about that. If you get rerouted in the middle of your load,
Yeah.
we need to stop and talk to somebody. You call that shipper,
Right.
call the shipper and say, where is this load supposed to go?
Oh, no, that's
Because
good
you
advice.
may have a load that's being rerouted somewhere
And
else.
then they got jack you.
Right.
Hijack you.
When what will happen is they will take your load, drop it in a warehouse. They will, sometimes they'll pay you, sometimes they won't. Most of the time they won't. Then they're going to leave that load there and have another innocent carrier come pick it up and deliver it somewhere else. I could talk for hours about all of the things and the different scams that happen with double brokering. But carriers, you are the ones suffering the most, because you're hauling this load, you're paying this gas, you're going from New York to gosh dog California with a load of Pepsi or whatever, not knowing where it's actually supposed to go.
That's so crazy that, thinking out loud that there's a load that's being rerouted to different warehouses and scamming different drivers from that one load.
Multiple drivers.
Multiple drivers. Time in and time again. I don't know if you can give me these numbers, but how much money do you think, like, just your guys' company alone? I know Jason said like 200, 500,000. That's, even though you guys have the prevention and you know what to look for, people are still getting scammed. Is it that much money?
Yeah. Sometimes it's a hard lesson learned,
Yeah.
right? You don't want to, but yeah, absolutely. And again, carriers are the ones that are suffering, like when you book a load with a carrier and that carrier, hey, my name is Joe. I run this. I hired, Mark to help me out.
Yeah.
And Mark thought that it would be a good idea to double broker this load.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, Joe, but you're being held responsible for
Yeah.
Mark's decision. Mark decided to send that load to somebody else, and now that load got hijacked. So it's not just direct, and that's the thing that I need for carriers to understand. When we're talking about freight theft today, we are not just talking about leaving your truck while you go get a shower and somebody hopping in and jacking it.
Right.
First of all, that's horrible. But secondly, this is strategic freight theft, and it has been on the rise. I don't know if you guys are aware of like CargoNet and things like that are out there and putting out numbers. I mean, in the last 6 months, and this was maybe a month ago, I saw this number. In the last 6 months, strategic freight theft has gone up 700%. Y'all,
that crazy?
700%.
What type of percentage is that?
So that's insane. So, and that's when you're getting fake BOLs. These guys are like looking at DAT load boards. They're looking at truck stop. They're seeing where these like normal lanes are, the normal lanes that are being run. Then they're starting to post it. They're grabbing those loads. They'll steal an MC. They'll steal a carrier's MC, book that load. Now the carrier's got a bad name out because they've got all these double brokering reports when it wasn't even them. That's another thing to be careful for. Y'all be careful for phishing emails. So help me, if you do not know who sent you that email, do not click on any links, because that's how they're going to get some information from you. That's how you get your MC stolen, and that's how people book loads off of you on DAT.
No, I appreciate it.
So
it's so much, right?
Right.
At the end of the day, what would you like to leave these truck drivers and carriers with?
I just want to say, be careful, be advised. If you don't know, if you got a little bit of like a shady feeling about that load, look, I understand that you're looking for loads and that you're out there trying to make money, and the industry is just, it's tough right now, and we recognize it and understand it. But I'd rather you hold off on a load and not take that load than take that load. Now you're out fuel. You thought you were going to get $5,000 for that load. Now you're in California and you're not getting paid for it. Also, another thing as far as high dollar amounts is quick pay. If someone's offering you quick pay and you've never hauled a load for them before, be advised. Typically, somebody who's someone who's more aware on the risk management side is not going to offer you quick pay without having a history with you. So if it's your first load, they're offering quick pay and it's a really high paying load, y'all take a pass.
No, I appreciate you so much.
So thanks so much. If you guys have any questions, I'm sure you've got contact information other places. I'd be happy to give you my contact information if anybody has any follow-ups.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, we can do that. And
Yeah,
then,
I can send you screenshots of some phishing emails as well to
Yeah.
show you kind of what those look
I'll
like
just give you,
to be aware
my
of.
number. You could, and then you could just text me your
Sure.
information so that they can email you, or send me some pictures of some fishy emails and whatnot.
Yeah,
and we'll get it done.
absolutely. We're here to help the industry as a whole. So please do reach out. If there's something that we can do to help you, we certainly want to.
Oh, you're the best. You are the
Thanks
best.
so much, guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.